This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles Thompson and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Agent Jake Knight at Pennington Insurance, Cry Like Pro Elite Realty, and Sheffield Music Company. The host of Inside Badger Football is Chase Hartzell.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Inside Badger Football with Trey Shucker. As you can see, the Ouachita River Rumble Belt is in the building, and Coach Shucker, that means good news.
It is. It's a great day to be here and get to talk about a good game.
Well, now I get to introduce you as 4A7 Conference Champion Coach Trey Shucker. So first off, congratulations on that achievement.
Thank you. You know, it was a big, just a big night overall. You know, it was a conference championship game. It was a championship atmosphere. Our guys were ready. You know, it was so big for our program to get that win. You know, Malvern is a very, very good football team. They're proven. They're defending state champions from last season. You know, they're very well coached. Coach Plumley and his staff does a great job over there, obviously. You know, and they return a lot from last year's team. And so it was a really, really big win for us. You know, obviously a lot on the line with the belt, with the rivalry, the conference championship on the line, and then the first round bye and the playoffs, 1 seed, and then having home field throughout. You know, there's so much on the line going into that game. It was so built up. You know, the biggest thing going into the week was keeping our kids focused, and you know, our kids did a really good job of that. You know, there's a lot of buzz going around the game all week, and you know, we just told them, you know, worry about these 4 walls of the field house, worry about the sidelines on the football field, and everything else take care of itself.
And it was the homecoming game too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fanfare that goes into that week, but these players, they really seemed locked in and didn't use homecoming as a distraction, but more so as a motivator going into that big game. For
sure. And you know, homecoming, you know, is about the ladies, and you know, so we were able to focus a little bit more on the football side of it. You know, we had already done our senior night a couple weeks before, and you know, we were able to focus a little bit extra on the game being homecoming. So we were excited about it.
Well, looking back at the start of the season, starting out 0-3 this year against some tough non-conference opponents, but to turn it around and to win 6 straight down the stretch, go undefeated in conference play, what does that accomplishment mean to you personally and to this program?
Well, I think it just shows mental toughness, and you know, one of the biggest things moving from last season into this season in the off season was, you know, overcoming adversity. And you know, we got hit with some adversity early. It was could have been easy for, you know, people to not take the season as serious, not you know, come to practice and not go as hard as maybe they would have. Being 0-3 can be deflating, and you know, I think it starts with our coaches, our staff. Our staff did not blink an eye at that, you know, result. You know, we knew that once we got into conference play, and if we just kept coming to work every day and getting better, you know, we would have a chance to do something. And so I think it starts with our staff individually relaying that message and being consistent with it every single day to our players responding the right way to our coaches, and you know, just putting the hard hat on and being blue collar and coming to work every day. And that's exactly what it was about. And you know, we've gotten better every single week. We've won some good games. You know, we've won the games that we needed to win, and we're continually getting better. And I've said it previous weeks, I don't think we have peaked, and I still don't think we have peaked. But you know, it's never a perfect game. There's things to improve on. You know, this week we're still trying to get better at some things, and so you know, we're trying to be the best that we can be every single Friday night. And you know, our guys have done a really good job of that and proven that.
Well, there are a lot of great things to talk about in this matchup, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights. This was the Ouachita River Rumble against Malvern.
to start the game, Jalen Dupree, running back, one of the best players in the state, breaks off a huge play. But I tell you, big run down right here by Braden Wagner. We want to be relentless on defense. We don't want to back down from anything. We don't want to give them anything easy. And so, yes, it was a big play for them, but, we could have just let up and let them score right there. It had been really easy, but no, we ran them down and made them have to run another play to score, which they did. But it just goes back to the mentality of we're not going to back down from anything all night. And so that was the biggest thing going into it defensively. We're not going to back down from you. And so I thought our kids brought that mentality all night. And then offensively, we knew we had to execute. We had to take care of the ball going into the game. If we took care of the football, we know we would put ourselves in situations to be successful. The first couple plays were difficult, didn't really go the right way, but then all of a sudden, Evan Bailey, senior wide receiver, having a huge season, comes up and makes a big play in a big-time situation in a big-time game. Makes a good catch and then breaks a tackle and opens his stride up. And when Evan opens his stride up, he really shows you how fast he can run. And then obviously, a good read by Cade McBride, putting the ball in a good spot for him. And then, followed up by our kickoff unit. Our kickoff unit has been a strong point of our special teams, creating good field position for our defense to start drives. We knew that they've got multiple skill players. They've got 4 Division I athletes on offense. The running back, Jalen Dupree, Junell, their tight end fullback type, number 24, their Caradine, their receiver who they like to go to, in that situation right there. They're trying to put the ball in one of their better players' hands. And then their left tackle is also another Division I player. And so we knew that we just couldn't back down. They're going to make big plays. You see it right there. We've got 2 guys in the right spot. But a good player's going to make a good play at times. And so we knew that we just could not back down all night. And so our guys did a really good job bringing that mentality.
And Jalen Dupree, one of those ball carriers that's going to fight for every yard, as we saw on that last play. He got his touches in this game, and he had some big plays, but it really felt like the defense stepped up when the team needed it most.
That's exactly right. We knew, obviously we don't want to allow and give them anything, but, good players are going to make plays, and we just could not let that affect us. We had to keep coming back, and it takes a lot of mental toughness to do that and not back down on any play in any situation. I thought our defense did that. Our offense, got back out on the field and just really executed. Is really what it comes down to. Executed the plays, kept the drive going. The plays were positive, and so in the run game and the pass game. And then we were able to find Evan Bailey again for a touchdown. He had one of the best nights of the season for him so far. He had 3 touchdowns on the night, just a big, big night. He made the plays that we needed him to make and what we asked him to make. And, he just showed how talented he really is. Again, our kickoff unit, our cover down, doing a really good job getting to top speed, getting to their lanes, and, making the tackle whenever they need to get there and not allow big returns.
It's also worth mentioning Caradine, who's on the near side on this last play. He made some big plays early in the contest, but again, Badger's doing a great job down the stretch, limiting him and his big play ability.
That's right. And, offense got back out on. This is a 3rd and long situation. McBride does a really good job extending the play and finds Nick Williams out near the sideline. Just a really good job of just continuing to play and find the space that we needed to make. Their defensive line is really good. They've got a really good defensive end, number 52. We knew that he was going to be an issue in the pass game at times, and he proved that. He got to us a couple times in the pass game, but I thought our offensive line did a really good job for the most part all night, controlling the line of scrimmage and creating lanes for us in the run game and then giving Cade time in the pass game. This goes back to that mental toughness part and that overcoming adversity. Big play by Dupree on the big run for a touchdown, but we go in and we're creating penetration. We're not allowing them to just kick a field or a PAT after a field goal after a touchdown, and that's just mental toughness. That's really what it comes down to. right here, big play. Again, we were 3rd and long. Big play by senior wide receiver Maddox Atkins. He's been one of those guys this year that will step up whenever we need him to step up and make a play, and that was the same deal. And we needed him to make a play right there. Really good ball by Cade McBride, and he executed the catch. And then same thing right here, coming back to Evan Bailey. Huge night, just playing fast and down there in the red zone goal line area. Evan Bailey's our tallest receiver, very long. We like going to him in the goal line area.
So already a hat trick for Evan Bailey. It's 21-20 at this point. And this is something you'll notice about Malvern in this game. It's not that the Leopards were pulling any punches in this game. They were throwing everything that they had.
That's exactly right. They didn't back down one bit. And we knew it was going to be a 4-quarter game, regardless of the situation. Our kids knew that all week, that we were ready to play 4 quarters. We knew that we weren't going to back down on any single play, and we had to be a physical football team all night, and our kids responded to that. And again, when you go against an offense as dynamic as what they do and how physical they are, good players all over the field, especially when you have a running back like Jalen Dupree. Very, very hard to stop. We need a couple things to go our way, and we just got to keep being physical and not back down, just like I keep saying. You just not back down from them. And offense started really clicking. We started getting big chunk plays right there. It was a big play by Cade McBride. We started executing really, really well. It was very efficient. Another really good hookup right here on 4th down from Cade to Evan Bailey, just to get us a first down. And then we get close, we get into our heavier package. And Cade McBride, bootleg out the back end of it, uses his speed to get to the end zone.
And if you're keeping count, that's 4 first-half touchdowns for Cade McBride. He wasn't done either.
No, he had a huge night. And just a big, big night for him. He felt comfortable. I can tell that he was playing with confidence, and he was really feeling the environment. And so that's one thing that we feel like we are a really good team at, is in big games, the environment does not affect us negatively. And you see it right here. Braden Wagner, this was, to me, was the game-changing play. We knew we just had to keep playing, and Braden Wagner just been a solid corner for us all year. We put him in a situation to go against their best player at receiver, and tipped ball, and he's in the right spot, makes the play, and takes it to the house. Getting defensive points like that is huge. That actually put us in the lead, and so that was the game-changing play for us. And we just fed on that. Once we got the lead right there, we had the momentum. We really fed on it, and you see our defense, blood in the water, our defense is going. And that was right before halftime, and so it was a perfect opportunity to have that, because our offense took the field. We went into halftime with the lead, and offense took the field to start the half. We didn't end up scoring the first drive of the second half, but we get a good punt, flip the field on them, and then make their offense have to go the full length of the field to if they're going to score.
And with the Badgers leading by 7, we did see some second-half adjustments from the Leopards. Fortunately for Arkadelphia, there were some second-half adjustments to come as well.
There was, and we knew that there was going to be some wrinkles here and there that they had for us, and they did. They showed them. But our defense responded, and you see us, when we get to the ball carrier, we're going to be physical. We're going to be aggressive tacklers, and so that's one thing that in big-time games you have got to be on defenses. You got to be aggressive tacklers. You got to be physical, and that's exactly what it was. It was a very physical football game. I thought our defense did a really good job of creating pressure in the pass game, not allowing just drop back and throw the football with ease. Thought we did a really good job of disrupting the passer. this was a huge play for us on 4th down. That was huge for our defense to keep them from scoring. That was the first time of the game that we got them off the field. Getting the ball back to our offense, which our offense did not respond. But we were able to run some clock. That drive that they put together was, I don't remember how many plays it was, but it ran a lot of time off the clock, and so it put it towards the end of the 3rd quarter before they started this drive. And so with the lead, we're still up by a score. The time is starting to dwindle, and so we knew we had to just stay strong again. Our offense would get it clicking, and then we just saw the tipped pass by a defensive end was huge because we don't want to allow anything, and we want to be physical down here. It's a very, very tough offense to defend down there on the goal line area. But they had to run multiple plays to do it. And every time they run a play, the clock's still running. And so I believe it's tied up at this point.
It is 35-35, yeah. And Jalen Dupree just scoring his 5th touchdown. However, he got a bit outshined by a certain quarterback from Arkadelphia, including this big play.
This was a huge play right here. I think it took us 2 or 3 plays to break that off and score. At times, whenever things aren't clicking, I tell the offense all the time, when it's not clicking, we just need somebody to make a play. And Cade stepped up right there, made the play, and really responded. They created a little bit of momentum with their score. They kept us from scoring the first 2 times we had it, and they went ahead and scored, created the momentum, and then we just shut it back down and took it right back. And so our cover down created good field position for our defense, and our defense responded again with playing physical and got them off the field on 4th down. Again, they punted back to us. And so again, Cade McBride just made the right read in the run game. He pulls the ball, and he's a physical runner, and he really showed some speed Friday night. He puts us in good field position, he flips the field, and then, we're able to get the run in. Kyle Reed, one of the running backs that we use, we were in a rotation with our running backs, did a really good job getting in the end zone.
At this point, it's 48-35, and this is a big tackle here in the open field by Nick Williams.
Yes, going up 2 scores, we knew we were putting the pressure on them and forcing them to do some things that they weren't really wanting to do just based off of how much time was left. They were in bad field position. We knew that they had to go the full field, and our defense remained strong. They went for it on 4th down. They had to, and our offense was in good field position. And so we execute the run game. Our offensive line did a really good job of controlling the line of scrimmage, and we put together a few runs, and we get in for another score and go up 3 scores. And at that point of the game, going up 3 scores is huge. The game's not over. Anything can happen. We've still got to play physical. We've got to do what we do. But we just know that going up 3 scores in that situation is going to be very, very tough, especially with the amount of time that was off the clock, and the clock was in our favor. And so we still had to go execute. We still did. But just the amount of time that was left, we did a really good job of responding to some adversity. Our defense, we were going back and forth with them. They were getting big chunk plays in the first half, and we knew they were able to do that. We'd hoped that we would be able to stop that, but they did. When you go against good players like they have, that's going to be something that happens. And so we just got to respond to it, and our defense did. And then offensively, we knew we had to execute, and we had to take care of the football, and we did that as well. With the first couple first couple drives of the second half, we didn't score, but Cade McBride stepped up, made a play for us, and really sparked us, and it was on from there. And so we also won the special teams battle. Our kickoff unit created some good field position. Our kick return unit did a really good job of the return game, getting good field position for us on that as well. And when we did have to punt, we flipped the field on them. And so it was a really good night overall. Our team is playing really well in all three phases.
Again, final score 55-35, Arkadelphia, and there you see some of the stat leaders in this one. What a night it was for Cade McBride. His final regular season home game as Badger. He did not disappoint, outshining Colorado State commit Jalen Dupree, who had 5 touchdowns with 6 touchdowns.
Yep, he did a really good job. Which the quarterback position, it's not just him. There's a lot of guys around him that are doing their job and executing at a high level to allow some of those stats to be made. The front line did a really good job in the run game and gave him time in the pass game. The receivers did a really good job of getting to their spots. Evan Bailey had a huge night for us. Just made the plays that we needed to make, and so it's a very collective effort, especially whenever quarterbacks have the stats that they have. It's definitely a collective effort, and so the defense. We talked about they're a ground and pound offense. They're going to be physical. They're big up front, big running back. They're big everywhere. We knew we just couldn't back down, and if they got the plays that they needed to get, don't back down. The next play's got to be better than the last one. And so our defense did a really good job of responding. Showed a lot of mental toughness, showed a lot of ability to overcome adversity, and just our team in general. We didn't blink an eye all night. We just knew we had to be ready for the next play, get your mind right for the next play, and go do it. And very, very proud of our team for that.
It just felt like a complete effort in this one.
Really was.
Quarterback stepped up, wide receivers stepped up, the offensive line got some experience throughout the season, had one of its best games of the year.
Yeah.
The defense, everybody just seemed to be stepping up in this one. Special teams, you mentioned them as well. When it's a complete effort like that, it can make it a little bit tougher to narrow it down for the Badger Players of the Week because there were so many great performances to choose from. However, you did have that task going into this week.
Yeah, and you talk about, our defense has been the strong point of our team so far. I've talked about Coach Kaiser, our defense coordinator, how well he's done. Our defensive line coach, Bobby Evans, developing some of that young talent that we've got on the defensive line, getting those guys ready to play every Friday night. And then Ben Chandler, our linebackers coach, getting those linebackers in the right spots and getting us lined up and being physical football players. Our defense has done a really good job. Coach Chandler is also our special teams coordinator. I'll tell you, our special teams is one of the best in the state, and it's because of how good of a job that he does. And then, we've talked about our offensive line. We're young on the offensive line. We had to replace 5 starters off of last year's season, so we're all new. And I talked about at the beginning of the year that the offensive line is going to progress every week, and they're going to get better. And at the end of this season, they will look a lot different than what we did at the beginning. And Brian Gibson, our offensive line coach, does a phenomenal job with them. He's consistent, and he gets them better every single week, and he knows how to push the buttons he needs to push to get them where they need to go, and he does a great job, and they've developed so much over the course of the season. That's one of the big reasons why we're able to do the things we do as an offense. Without those guys up front, we're not able to get the ball in space. We're not able to create rush lanes where it starts with offensive line on offense. And then Benson Jordan, our wide receivers coach, getting our skill players lined up and progressed through what we do. We're very dynamic offensively. Yes, we like to throw the ball, but we ask our skill players to do different things. And Coach Jordan does a really good job of developing those guys and creating their abilities to make the plays we need them to make. And Evan Bailey showed that. Evan Bailey had a huge night Friday night, really did a really good job of making the plays that we needed him to make to be as successful as we were. And, Coach Jordan's a big part of that. He does a great job with those guys. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick before we got into the players of the week. But players of the week, offense, senior quarterback Cade McBride, huge night, 6 touchdowns. Had, I believe, it was a 67% completion percentage, over 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and then also had 156 yards, I believe, rushing, 3 touchdowns as well. Just a huge night, just the spark we needed. And defense, junior linebacker Reese Campbell. Reese plays outside linebacker for us, and we talk about just bringing the physicality and the mental toughness, not backing down from anything. That's exactly what he showed. You know, he was out there in a spot to go against some big guys, a lot bigger than him, and he showed the physicality and mental toughness that we needed to be successful as a defense. And then he was making tackles. You know, he's one of those guys that's gotten better every single week, and had a huge game for us Friday. Special teams player of the week was senior D'Angelo Buckley. Plays running back for us. You know, he's won offensive player of the week this year, but D'Angelo had some crucial tackles on special teams this week. He's getting to his top speed, getting to his lane of where he needs to be, and when he was at, you know, when the play needed to be made and he got there, he made it. And that's exactly what we needed. We needed those kickoff units to cover down and do a really good job of creating field position. He was a big part of that for us. And then our Spirit Award winner, senior defense back Cade McLean. Cade McLean's one of those guys. He's a senior for us. Didn't start the season as a starter, but given the situation, he's the guy that we need to go in there and make the plays. And he had a huge night. He had a tall task at hand Friday night as well, but he's ready to go. You know, he's done pretty much everything that we've asked him to do, and we've asked him to do a lot of different things between, you know, we asked him Friday night to start, but he's also been a part of our scout teams. He's a part of our different special teams units. You know, he's kind of a jack of all trades type of player, and, you know, big reason why that we're having the success that we have is, you know, Kay's one of those guys. He just shows and models exactly what we need, does a great job of, you know, modeling what we want our younger guys to do and act like and represent our football program well.
Congratulations to Cade and all of this week's winners. Each and every person on this team really contributing to the run that we've seen down the stretch. You get to see some of the other scores from around the conference. We broke down the score that you see there at the top: Arkadelphia 55, Malvern 35, Nashville with a big win at Lone Oak to get some momentum going into the playoffs, and then Mena taking care of business against Waldron and earning a spot in the 4A state playoffs.
Yeah, you know, Nashville's playing their best football just like they did last year. You know, they got better every week last year and ended up making a big run in the playoffs, and they're looking like the same team that they did last year at this time and doing what they're doing. And so, you know, Nashville's a dangerous team in the playoffs. You know, obviously Malvern, you know, last year this was a similar situation with our game. We won the game last year, and then they got hungry and made a big run in the playoffs. So, you know, it's kind of shaping up the kind of the similar ways of what it did last year, you know, based off of, you know, how it ended. You know, the final four teams in the playoffs last year were Arkadelphia, Malvern, Nashville, and then Harding was the other one. But 3 teams from our conference were in the Final Four in 4A last year. And, you know, I would say our conference is so physical, so well coached. You know, Ashdown is another team that is well coached. They're very talented, very athletic, and Mena, one of the most physical teams that you'll see. So, you know, the 5 that are in the playoffs from our conference are very dangerous. You know, you got to be ready to play, and once we get out of our conference, we know our conference coaches talk about it all the time. You know, once we get out of our own conference, you know, we feel like we got really good opportunities and favorable matchups.
So there you can see a look at the playoffs, some good matchups around the 4A 7. 4 other teams in action this week. Mena traveling to Rivercrest, Crossit to Nashville. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. Lone Oak and Malvern, and Ashdown at Blytheville. The big story, though, going into this week, though, is that Arkadelphia is going to have a bye week, thanks to that 4A 7 bye this year that comes with the conference championship in the 1 seed, and will face the winner of Bald Knob and Mayflower that's coming up this week. But, Coach, before we even, you know, talk about those games, because we don't know exactly who that matchup is going to be yet, what does home field advantage mean in the state playoffs going down the stretch from your perspective as a coach?
I think it's just huge. You know, having the bye week this week is also, you know, you see this time of year, to me it's because everybody's good. Everybody's made the playoffs. They're the best in their conferences. Especially the deeper you go in the playoffs, it almost comes down to who's the most healthy. And so having that first round bye kind of helps you with that. It helps you continue to stay healthy or get healthy, whatever your situation is. And so that's a big part of it. Going into the second round of the playoffs should be healthy. And then also in our situation, having the home field advantage all the way throughout is huge because of the environment that our fans and our crowd creates. Our stadium is a tough place for opponents to come play. And just to be honest, our players play really well at home. I know everybody likes to say that about their own, but we really do. And so having that all the way through is huge for us, huge for just our program to be able to host the entire playoffs. And that's something that we've not been able to do, and that's something that we hope that we can do.
And if I'm not mistaken, in your entire time at Arkadelphia, the Badgers have not lost to a 4A opponent at home.
That's correct. And don't want to.
Right, you don't want to
jinx it and talk about that too much, but that is true. Yes, it's a tough place to play. So
it is, and something else that is an added benefit from this season, maybe was a bit of a blessing in disguise. Mm-hmm. It seemed a little bit tough at first. The scheduling that's gone around with the smaller conference, you have more bye weeks built in. That's always a question for a top seed is can they come back from a bye week with that same momentum that they had going into the break? Right. Arkadelphia's had a couple of chances to practice that in the regular season.
We definitely have been able to practice that. So, a bye week is nothing new to us. We know how to handle it. I thought our kids have responded well this week. We're excited about, getting into next week and actually getting another opponent. I think it's kind of one of those things where our kids have been a part of a bye week enough to where they're just ready to play again. Just get us to the next week and let's go. And so that's the mentality of our kids. Yeah, we're focused, we're locked in, we're getting better and doing the things we need to do to worry about ourselves. Because we're not going to worry, we're not going to look forward at an opponent that we don't know who we're going to play. But, our kids are just ready to get into next week and let's get after another opponent. That's really what it comes down to. And I think our guys are hungry. And so that's another thing that's exciting is our guys are ready to make a run in the playoffs. They're ready to see these opponents of whoever we get. And, it's going to be fun football.
Well, we're still waiting on the official opponent for that one because It's going to be the winner of Bald Knob and Mayflower. But two similar opponents that are getting to play against each other for the opportunity to play at Badger Stadium next week. What can we expect from either of those teams, and especially from the Badgers going into that game? I think you've talked about the energy that they're bringing.
That's the big thing. To be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about either one of the teams that we're going to play. We're going to look at them this week and go watch the game. But, one thing that about us is we're going to be excited to play. We're going to be ready to play. And, we're at our home field. And so anytime that we're playing at home, our guys are going to be excited to play and be ready. And the whole thing where when you get in the playoffs, it's a whole new season. Yes, we're the 1 seed, but everybody's in the same boat of it's 0-0 again, and nobody can continue forward with a loss. Everybody's in the same boat of you win, you stay. And so it doesn't matter who the opponent is. Every game's got to be the best game of the season. And, that's the whole mentality of it. That's how we're going to prepare. Because every game is the biggest game of the season. Because you're only guaranteed one more. You're not guaranteed 2. So you got to create that opportunity for yourself.
Well, a bye week this week and then next week, big game at Badger Stadium in round 2 against either Bald Knob or Mayflower, either opponent that comes to town. It's going to be a great one. And this year, the road to the Rock, no matter who you are, it's going to be running through Arkadelphia with the home field advantage.
That's exactly right. And that's one thing, we've just got to continue to do what we need to do and take care of business. Again, like I said, for us, next week is guaranteed. We get to play the winner of Mayflower and Bald Knob, but after that, nothing is. So we've got to create the next week opportunity. One thing that we talked about this week to our guys is, we remember back to when we were 0-3 to start the year. Practice like you're 0-3. Practice like you've got something to prove. Practice like, you're trying to climb the hill again. And so, that's one thing that we're trying to talk to our guys about, and just to keep them focused, keep them hungry, keep them going. And because at one point, that's what we were, and we've come a long way since then. And it's based off of that blue-collar mentality, putting on that hard hat and coming to work every day. And that's what we've got to attack the playoffs like.
Exactly, and I believe that mental toughness is going to pay dividends for the Badgers going into the postseason. First matchup for the Badgers will be on November 17th at 7 p.m. against either Mayflower or Bald Knob. You can catch that game right here on ArkadelphiaBadgerTV.com. But I don't think you're going to want to miss out on this playoff atmosphere because it is something special.
Yeah, if you can be at the game, be at the game, because it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. There's going to be some big-time games. And also, the more people we have there, the better our odds are at winning the game. Creating an atmosphere for us in our favor is huge for our team, our program, our players. So, I ask, it helps us out whenever we have a big crowd in our favor, and we're at home throughout the entire playoffs. So show up, help us out, create a big-time environment for us, and cheer us on.
Absolutely. Well, that is going to do it for this week's episode of Inside Badger Football. Coach Shucker, we'll see you after round 2, hopefully to talk about another Badger win.
Hopefully so. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, and
Go
we'll
Badgers.
see you next time.
Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles Thompson and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Agent Jake Knight at Pennington Insurance, Cry Like Pro Elite Realty, and Sheffield Music Company. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by the Ouachita Baptist University Rogers Department of Communications and the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.